finally have a voice. This is Lagos Talks 91.3. Take a break from the stress of Lagos life on the midday show. Excellence from the center of excellence. This is Lagos Talks 91.3.
Lagos Talks 91.3.
A very good afternoon. It's still the midday show with me, Ifunanya, here on Lagos Talks 91.3. And like I did mention, I'm going to be having a special Directions episode today. As always, Directions is a show where we get to point you towards the right direction concerning several topics and several issues. And my guest today, his name is Olusoji Oyawoye. I'm just going to do a little introduction before you hear his voice. He is an entrepreneur who provides coaching, teaching, speaking services to individuals and businesses. He's also a certified mentor of the John Maxwell team, an elite group of certified coaches and communications mentored by renowned leadership expert and New York Times best-selling author, John C. Maxwell. I have actually read one John Maxwell book, by the way. He is also an associate certified outsourcing professional of the International Association of Outsourcing Professionals. He's definitely multi-hyphenated, a man that wears many hats. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Ify, for this platform.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure having you here. Okay, so today's topic is entrepreneurship in uncertain times. I mean, we know what's going on. I'm not really sure I have to go over that again. You know, the global pandemic, it's a global crisis, and it sort of has thrown a lot of people off their balance. Yeah. Should I say sort of? Well, it has. It did affect so many people, so many industries, and we just had to adjust to the new normal.
Correct.
And so just talking about entrepreneurship in uncertain times, what is uncertainty to an entrepreneur? Because, you know, when people talk about entrepreneurship saying, oh my goodness, it's so hard, entrepreneurship is this, it's that, are you sure you really want to do it? What really is uncertainty to entrepreneurs? Is it always, you know, dependent on, oh, it's a global pandemic and so of course, they're going to be facing a certain level of uncertainty? Or is this something that is just always a part of being an entrepreneur? So what really is that?
Very good question. Now, the reality is entrepreneurship is really not for everybody. And that is the mistake a lot of people make.
Yeah.
The fact that you run a business doesn't make you an entrepreneur.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Right. Now,
Okay.
Every entrepreneur is also a business driver.
Okay.
But not every business driver is an entrepreneur.
Oh, wow. Please break that down. Let's
Right.
understand.
The clear distinction is a business owner and driver typically is focused only for the money. They need just for the money. An entrepreneur, the objective primarily is not the money. The primary objective is to create value, provide solutions to problems. Now, those who have those problems then begin to pay the entrepreneur for the solutions, which could be the skills, products, or services. Then the entrepreneur makes money. So with that background, I'll then explain why for an entrepreneur, uncertainty is an everyday occurrence for an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So it's the business people that usually scream when you have situations like we have. An entrepreneur actually runs towards uncertainty, craves uncertainty. Because to be an entrepreneur, principal traits are risk, ability to take risk and absorb risks.
Yes.
They're flexible, they're collaborators by nature, and they typically are also pretty creative and get along well with people. You don't find all of that in a typical businessman. Now, you see, uncertainty is different from risks. With risks, you can approximate an occurrence, the likelihood of it happening or not happening. With risk, but with uncertainty, you can't even tell what will happen or wouldn't happen. But an entrepreneur, because of their ability and capacity for risks and that flexibility and their sense of collaboration, typically when an entrepreneur is confronted with uncertainty, all they do is they first look at what's the bird in hand. So when everybody else is running away, they're quickly able to dimension what are the negatives and the positives from this scenario.
Wow.
And they begin to leverage based on what they have and who they know from their collaboration to take advantage of the positives
Okay.
in what everybody else thinks is all bad.
Okay, so this is very profound, honestly speaking, and I love the way you dissected it and you separated it, because we always assume, oh, you're a business owner, it means you're an entrepreneur.
No, not necessarily.
Wow. Okay, so now, what would you say to individuals who are at the verge of starting maybe a business, and they're like, okay, you know what, I want to start a business. Would you say that everyone should be an entrepreneur when they are pursuing, starting off a business, or is it okay for people to decide, you know what, I want to start a business, but I don't want to be an entrepreneur? So what would you advise for those people who have not started yet, but at the verge of making that decision? So should everyone who's starting a business think like an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur?
Again, an entrepreneur has a long-term view of the business.
Yeah.
They're usually in legacy mode. The typical businessman is looking for what to make today, not a legacy mode. In fact, some don't look beyond their survival. Now, for anyone that is just considering going into business, if you don't have those entrepreneurial capacities, in fact, let me put it this way. What is required to succeed as an entrepreneur are not the technical skills. They are more of you being emotionally and psychologically stable and ready for the business you want to go into. So those elements of risks and the flexibility that are required, if you lack it, then what you want to do is to collaborate, right? And look for those who have what you lack and take whatever strengths you have and leverage on their own strengths. Then you go into a partnership.
Yeah.
So you can still be in business if you don't have the entrepreneurial dent. But that business would not last long if you don't have that. Because there are people who had invested a lot to just assume that this year, 2020, is their year to explode.
I tell you.
Then came February and March.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
every investment, everything is turned around.
Yes.
Now, an entrepreneur who is confronted with that just sits back and looks at it. Okay, in all of these scenarios, what are the good sides? They don't stay too long planning on what they had imagined.
Oh, wow.
In fact, typical entrepreneur doesn't plan too long. They are nimble. So they go this way. Once they see things are looking tough or different, they pivot into something else.
Right.
If I'm to share my practical experience, this
Okay,
COVID,
please,
for example, we're principally into people management. But then about 30% of what we do is capacity building, which is training people, helping them enhance their capacities. And we do that on an average month. Maybe we have 1 or 2 training sessions or strategy sessions for organizations, for businesses and individuals. Then came COVID. You can't assemble a large crowd in any space. By the way, part of the businesses we run are co-work spaces called the Bunker, which we have in Abuja, Lekki, and Yaba, as it is. So we have spaces to sit up to 100 people in the training room. Now you can't run physical trainings. So the entrepreneurial spirit in me, rather than be so confounded by that fact, which was an uncertainty and we don't know how long it will be, we sat back and quickly looked at the opportunity. Wait a minute. You can train people online. You can do one-on-one coaches online. So even within the 4 weeks stay at home, something we've never done. I never used Zoom. I never did any training online until March. Never. And I've been teaching and training for 14 years, but never had I done it online. I didn't even know what Zoom was or how to use it. But in those 4 weeks, my organization pivoted and we had 11 online training sessions. On Zoom, we trained 700 people in those 6 weeks. At 10,000 naira per person. We made almost 4 million naira.
Wow.
At the first training, people were like, you guys, nobody would pay you. These trainings are happening free. Why would you charge anybody to come to your training?
Yes.
I said, don't worry. Don't worry. There's a difference. It's the value we put on the table.
Of course.
We had over 600 people pay us.
Wow.
Those 4 weeks when everybody else was crying at home, we had moved on.
Whoa. I mean, this one, I'm sure just you say, no, we made over 4 million. Lots of people now woke up now and you're like, okay, tell me more. Okay, with all this, honestly speaking, if there are people in a position at the moment where the industry, that they were occupying with their businesses at the moment were completely shut down.
Yeah.
Because we know industries like the hospitality industry, there are some people that till today, they probably haven't, they've shut down their businesses and they haven't even won anything ever since the shutdown, right? In a situation like that, as an entrepreneur, what would you say to, these individuals who at the moment, I used to make money before. Now all that is happening around is in such a way where I can't even do anything. Moving forward, what would you advise they do? Because you did mention pivot, but you were still within the context of your industry.
Absolutely.
But for someone whose industry has been completely shut down, what would you advise them?
You mentioned the hospitality industry.
Yes.
If I own for example, if I own a restaurant, right? A lot of businesses in that industry also pivoted by making sure they began to then make their menus look a lot more attractive, put those menus online and have people order. And a lot of them went into deliveries.
Yes.
And if you speak to those that did that early and did it well, they're actually selling more food now.
Wow.
By deliveries to people's homes as against people coming to their spaces. Now, those spaces they own, if they are rented, what it means is if I'm in that kind of a business, I need to be looking for how not to renew my rent for that space. Because I've found how to sustain my business. Now, if you're ordering food from XYZ, you're not necessarily likely interested in where their office is. All you just want is what you see on the menu, especially if they had built a good customer base before that period. Now, if I own the building as it is, meaning the likelihood of the restaurant business, for example, going post-COVID may be reduced, I also look at what else I can do with my building. I'm sure you're aware, a lot of businesses are now more open to flexi work and a group of their staff working from home.
Yeah.
Now, it saves commute time for those staff, so they save a lot more money, meaning the organization itself may need a little less space.
Yes.
But a lot of those staff, especially using Lagos, for example, live in places where power is not good. Maybe network data is also poor. Distractions at home and all of that, but they're to work from home. So if I own a building that's a restaurant or any of those things in some of those neighborhoods, I'll convert it into co-work spaces and have people, rather than commute from Agege to VI to work, go to that space in Agege that has been converted. Now, I'm talking about an industry I'm in because I run co-work spaces, which is a collaboration I spoke about, an entrepreneur. I shouldn't be saying this on here because that would be my competitors. But the collaborative spirit, right, of an entrepreneur typically is not looking for the money. Is looking for where the strengths are. So I could show you everything about what I do. You can't do it like me.
I like that.
Because you're not me.
I like that.
You just can't do it like me, no matter how much I tell you about the industry and the tricks behind it.
Yes.
And that's part of what is killing this country. People are so competitive rather than collaborate.
Wow.
200 million people and more.
Yes.
For most businesses, all you need is 100 regular customers out of 200 million. So why compete?
Wow. So there's enough space for everyone.
Plenty
there are
space
enough
for
customers for everyone.
Absolutely.
Now, what about people? Because you did mention with entrepreneurs, your focus is not on the money.
Yeah.
But with business owners, it's like, the money. If there are entrepreneurs right now listening, saying, oh, I've been an entrepreneur, doing what you've said and looking for solutions to problems and offering solutions, but I haven't been making money. What would you say to those people? Because, a lot of people would love to profess solution to problems, but they also want to feed. And so in a situation where there are entrepreneurs who haven't been making money and they're like, whoa, this entrepreneurship life that they say, okay, don't focus on money. What would you say, to those people?
I mean, I walked into your space this morning and look at all the gadgets here.
Yeah.
But it didn't take you 2 minutes to press this button and then we're on air.
Yeah.
So there's something called experience.
Okay.
So many people are not aware that they are business coaches. Right. So what I need all people that are in business to realize is get a business coach. Just like you get a life coach. You get a gym coach.
Yes.
You get a football coach.
Yes.
Get a business coach. Who would be somebody who has walked that path right? So they've been through it. So if you were to show me how to go on air here, it wouldn't take you 30 minutes to teach me. Because it's something that you've done. You're not talking theory.
Yes.
So a lot of people wait to learn and make their own mistakes, which is foolishness. Right. So get a business coach. It will cost you time. It will cost you money. There's something John Maxwell teaches us called the law of the lead.
Okay.
Your business cannot grow beyond what you know.
True.
Right. So you need to expand what you know. And how to achieve that is get a business coach who will then be able to look at your business and in 30 minutes be able to tell you what you're not doing right.
Wow.
And in a lot of instances, the basic things that should be staring you in the face, but you can't see it. A lot sell on credit, for example, just to keep the money going. Right. And then those that buy on credit don't even pay you, or they're not giving you value for what you're worth. So there are ways will teach you how to position your product or your service to the people that actually have the problem that you have a solution for, right? And can pay for it, because they may have the problem you have a solution for, but they may not be able to pay, meaning you are addressing the wrong audience.
Exactly.
Now, so we'll be able to guide you on how to position your product and yourself. And the greatest asset of a business, Ife, are your staff.
Okay, go further on that one. Why are they the greatest asset?
Now, a lot of people don't realize that.
Okay.
Now, I'm here, for example, I'm involved in about 4 or 5 different businesses.
Okay.
So 1 or 2 of them, like our co-work spaces, they're open during the holidays. Somebody's there right now, as it is. We open Mondays to Saturdays, public holidays inclusive, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay.
So if someone goes there now and is messed up because I have not recognized that my staff is my greatest asset, then that business is ruined.
Of course.
So that's one example why your staff are your greatest asset. You can't be everywhere.
Exactly.
You can't be everywhere at the same time. Secondly, you can't know everything. Right. I left school in 1987, for example. That's years back. That certification is old.
Yes.
Right. So I must keep abreast of new learning, new ways of doing things. How do I do that? Invest in your staff. Train them. Empower them. Allow them to take decisions over time. Right. You grow them. So once you invest in your staff, recognizing that they're your greatest asset, believe me, that business will grow.
So just speaking about investing in your staff, because I mean, I have had conversation, just random conversation with people, maybe would segue into, my workers, my workers, that. There are people that actually believe that if I invest in my staff, they will just leave me and go and start their own business, or they will leave me and go and be working for another person. And so I'm not going to be spending an amount of money on someone that I know that can go tomorrow. What do you think, about that line of thinking?
When I say invest in your staff, you're not doing it because you expect them to work with you forever.
Oh, wow.
You're just doing it because first, it's the way the world works.
Yes.
Right? The people you invest in fact, I'm excited when they leave to start their business.
Oh,
you know what I've experienced over time?
Yes.
They end up being your greatest ambassadors.
Oh, wow.
Some of the best businesses we have gotten have come from staff who left me and went elsewhere, and then tell that organization, you guys, this nonsense you are doing here, you better go and talk to resource intermediaries.
Oh, wow.
You need to call Soji Oyawe, and then we go solve the problem from them. Now, they're speaking out of that recognition, so there's no problem. Right, so you don't need to sign all those bonds that once I train you can't go. Let them go. Wow. Right, relationships and your networks is what sustains a business into legacy mode. So that staff, as they are leaving, my network is expanding, as it is. Right, and the value is reciprocal. Now, those staff that are remaining appreciate that fact that in this organization they invest in me. They're not just here to get out of me. They're interested in my progression. So what happens is those staff literally die for the organization, whether they are still with you or not.
Wow.
Those are the kind of things a business coach guides you on how to do. Some will mess you up. You can't get out of that. Some will mess you up. Okay. That's part of the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right. So some will really, really mess you up. But what you'll find out is there will be very, very few.
Okay, so when it comes to entrepreneurship and people that have already started this journey and it's not really worked well for them, there's 2 questions I want to ask concerning, that. Number 1 is this: when is it time to throw in the towel? When is it time to hang your boots? When is it time to say, you know what, this life is not for me. Let me go and seek employment in an organization. And that's one. Another is for those people who decide, they probably hit rock bottom with this entrepreneurship life. How can they revive, that business of theirs or that entrepreneurship venture?
I started off by saying entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
Exactly.
Right. My business didn't make a profit until year 5.
Until year 5?
We're 14
Wow.
years old, July this year.
Okay.
But I didn't go back. Now, I was in the banking industry for 19 years before I left for that to start that business.
Okay.
So nobody sacked me. I resigned. And they kept on asking me to come back, but I refused because I believed in the solution I had.
Yes.
But if I knew then what I know now, I would
Yes.
have broken even a lot earlier. That's why you need a business coach. So there were many things we did wrongly. We spent a lot of money on advertisement, for example, billboards all over Lagos, adverts on CNN, on all radio and TV. Not one customer came in 2 years.
Whoa.
Because adverts just get customers to know you exist, not to come and buy.
Whoa. I think we're supposed to have another session with you, Okay.
Right. So you need adverts when you have already gotten your customer base to grow it, not when you're at takeoff stage. At that stage, I need free adverts. like you're allowing me to do. I know you'll send your bill later on your show this morning. Right. I need more of that when you're starting off. Right. Second mistake we made, I thought you need to go and buy the staff, the skills you needed. So I went to competing organizations in the industry I was going into, and I went to headhunts, their middle management, and increased their salary, gave them official car. Big error.
Oh, wow.
So when you're starting a business, what you want to do is to build your people rather than buy. Because the people you are buying, they come with chips on their shoulders. I mean, they're like,
that is so true.
they accomplished where they are.
Yes, you need me. That's the reason why you're buying my services.
They come to you, they can run a business that already has customers very well.
Yes,
but what you are looking for is customers. So you need a different set of people.
Yes.
Right. I'm a third class graduate.
Okay.
You need people like me. No class, third class, school dropouts.
I like that.
And build them.
Goodness, yeah.
They will die for you because they can see the investment you've made in them.
Wow.
Now, as the business grows, they see all of them growing together. So what I'll say to such people, this is why you need a business coach. It's like talking to a doctor. What exactly is wrong with me? By the time they do all the tests, then they tell you your sugar level is too high.
True.
Your BP is this. But you're like, look, I'm okay. No, they say you're not okay. These things are there.
Yeah.
So get a business coach is what I'll say to such people who can help them discover what exactly is wrong. It may be customer base, it may be marketing, it may be pricing, it may be the channels you are selling through. It, however, may be that, for example, if you are making typewriters in 2020, nobody needs to tell you that business is dead.
Yes.
So they may be able to show you that, no, this business is gone. Right. But so that help would be ideal. That for the person, so I'm not usually keen to advise people to go back to paid employment.
Yes. Okay.
That shouldn't be the first option. It should be first to look at what exactly is not working right. For some people, the issue may be, look, Lagos is saturated. Why not move to Akure?
Wow.
And then Akure, what am I going to do in Akure? There's nobody in Akure. Yes, there may be nobody in Akure, but this service, there are people there and there'll be no competition. So some may be location-based. Sometimes the issues are not that fundamental.
Exactly.
But we're just so stuck in, this is what I need to do.
Yes.
Right. Samsung started off as a spaghetti company.
What?
Spaghetti.
No way. I've never heard this
Google
before.
Wow. Google it. Then Samsung from spaghetti became a supermarket.
Oh, wow.
From supermarket, they began to make chips.
Yes.
And gradually, now they're in aviation. Then Samsung this, Samsung that. So it's okay to pivot. I'm an outsourcing people management company. Yeah. I've gone into co-work space, right? I run a cafe. I've started the delivery service, born out of this COVID, right? To take advantage of that, people retailing and buying online.
Wow.
So I'm providing delivery services now through a Nimbler delivery services. I'm soon about to launch an online school.
Wow. So you know what I have noticed, just talking about your own story is how you grew gradually. Because
Absolutely.
there's so many people that have, a lot of fantastic ideas and they begin to wonder, where do I begin? How do I begin?
Start small.
Where
Start from where you are.
you
I
go.
said bird in hand. That's the distinguishing factor between a business owner and an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur has a bird in hand focus.
Yeah.
This is what I have. They start with what they have. But the critical part of what they have is who they know. So you must be a good people person and network, because you can then leverage on the people that you know. And they open you up to a new friend.
Yes.
That new friend opens you up to a
like a
different
web.
network. I
Yes.
just met you today.
Yes.
Hopefully, I'll be exposed to your network.
Exactly.
And vice versa.
Exactly.
Then our networks grow. So if I'm selling something and you are aware and you let your network know, people will never have heard of my name or my services and vice versa, then get to know us. That's what an entrepreneur does. They're collaborators.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for, spending time educating and enlightening us. I definitely love to have you here once again, because I'm sure a lot of people have so many questions. So on another day, we'll get to answer, questions. So I appreciate you so very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ife.
All right, guys, there you go. That is Olusoji Oyawe. I hope I pronounced your name properly, because when I pronounce like Yoruba names or Hausa, I want to pronounce it with the intonation.
You did.
Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. Coming up is, of course, your favorite talk show with your favorite ladies. If they want to follow you on social media, would you like to drop your handle?
Well, the easiest thing to do is just go to my website, sojioyawoye.com.
Okay.
sojioyawoye.com. All my social media handles, contacts, you'll find it through
then.
there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. All right, guys, stick around. It's going to be an exciting episode of The Dish, so don't go anywhere.
Take a break from the stress of Lego's life on the Midday Show.